Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at First Samuel, chapter 15 and chapter 16. And a little excited today. I feel like we've kind of come full circle. And what I mean by that is in the beginning of our studies, there was, and I'd ask this question a lot. And I think this question is really just now hitting me. And that is, who is God? Who is God? And, another way to ask that question is what is the character of God? And I've kind of felt like as we've gone through our studies here and looking at the books, there's a lot happening in all of the stuff that we've looked at. There's a lot of history, a lot of amazing things, and I found myself, kind of, um, looking at it more so just in terms of history, and losing that element of who is God. And I just feel revived in that today, and I hope and pray that that carries forth, with us. But really, this is the question, and starting now, and as we look through, the scriptures together, is what does this say about the character of God? Yes, there's some amazing things that have taken place, but ultimately through His Word and through His Scripture, there's a lot of actions, there's a lot of declarations, which gives us the essence of God and how true His Word is and how consistent it is. There's prophecies throughout everything that we're seeing. There's things coming to fulfillment in everything that we're seeing of the prophecies. And especially here in these two chapters, as David is anointed as king, there's some very special things here as well, just showing how God looks at us versus how we look at ourselves, and even how in our flesh and in our humanness, how we look towards other people. So wanted to share that. And so as we delve into chapter 15 here in First Samuel, um, let's do it under the context of what is this saying about the character of God. Verse 1, Samuel also said to Saul, "The Lord sent me to anoint you king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore heed the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus says the Lord of hosts, I will punish Amalek for what he did to Israel, how he ambushed him on the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and attack Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, infant and nursing child, ox and sheep, camel and donkey." So Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telem, 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to a city of Amalek and lay in wait in the valley. Then Saul said to the Kenites, "Go, depart, get down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt." So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites, and Saul attacked the Amalekites from Havilah all the way to Shur, which is east of Egypt. He also took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, the oxen, the fatlings, the lambs, and all that was good, and were unwilling to utterly destroy them. But everything despised and worthless they they utterly destroyed. Right on the heels of this great battle with the Philistines that we saw in chapter 14, and then with chapter 14, at the end, so they'd had this great battle against the Philistines. The Lord sent an earthquake, and in 14 there were just it started with Jonathan and his armor bearer, and we got to see the great faith of Jonathan, and just how everything started. And I bring that up because here in verse 4, 200,000 foot soldiers. Boy, there were only 2,000 and 1,000, and at one point in chapter 14, only 600. And now here there are 200,000. So I'm just wondering here if because of this great victory, now everybody's recharged, and all the tribes of Israel are now, gathered together, and really, no kidding, just willing participants, if you will, which is normal, right? Normal on the heels of victory. When everything's victorious, everything's, gravy and rocking and rolling, everybody's on board, right? Yet, let's not forget that in chapter 14, when everything was in despair, it took Jonathan and his armor bearer. It took really the faith of one man to really bring everybody together. So let's not forget that lesson. And also here, as far as what is the character of God? What does this say about God. Um, you know, uh, we're going to see this unfold, but there's been a command that was given here through Samuel by God to Saul, saying, "Hey, uh, kill everything, kill everything." And Saul instantly disobeys. I mean, there's we saw it. He was told to kill everything. He has now spared the king, and he has spared what he judges as the best of the flock, and it even ends with unwilling to utterly destroy them. So right in the depth of his will and his decision making, he's unwilling to do it. So he's taking things into his own hands. And we'll ask that question again here as we continue in 15 of what is the character of God in this. Verse 10. Now the word of the Lord came to Samuel, saying, I greatly regret that I have set up Saul as king, for he has turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried out to the Lord all night. So when Samuel rose early in the morning to meet Saul, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul went to Carmel, and indeed he set up a monument for himself, and he has gone on around, passed by, and gone down to Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed are you of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. But Samuel said, What then is this bleating of the sheep in my ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? Saul is on this downward spiral, and it's as if everything right now is just this constant rationalization. And he says to Samuel, Saul said to Samuel, Blessed are you of the Lord, I have performed the command of the Lord. But Samuel said, What then is this bleating of the sheep in my ears and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? I mean, what gives? And really the character of God here is God's serious. God does not want compromise. He's not going to bless compromise. And his commands are serious. And through Samuel here, it's like right to the point of it. It's not, let me try to figure out what Saul means. Let me, what's going on with Saul? What's up here? No, it's right to the point of it. Saul's saying, I have performed the commandment of the Lord. Yet Samuel comes right back with, well, what's this bleating of sheep that I hear in my ears? And this lowing of oxen which I hear. And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice to the Lord your God, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. And this rationalizations of, hey, we've kept the best and we've kept it for the Lord. No, let's backtrack and go right back to the original command, which is destroy everything. And don't come to me with your rationalizations of why you did it, of why you did it, and then try to envelop it with this hey, I saved the best for the Lord. Then Samuel said to Saul, Be quiet. That's the response. Be quiet, and I will tell you what the Lord said to me last night. And he said to him, Speak on. So Samuel said, When you were little in your own eyes, were you not head of the tribes of Israel? And did not the Lord anoint you king over Israel? Now the Lord sent you on a mission, and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are consumed. Why then did you not obey the voice of the Lord? Why did you swoop down on the spoil and do evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said to Samuel, But I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and gone on the mission on which the Lord sent me, and brought back Agag, king of Amalek. I have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the plunder sheep and oxen, the best of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice to the Lord your God in Gilgal. Samuel here, this is quite gracious, at least the way I read it. He's pointing out, he's really giving a small history here of Saul, and just telling him, hey, even when you were little, the Lord appointed you king, and you were given these commands, and just really stepping him through this so that he hopefully sees it, and then asking him, why did you not obey the voice of the Lord? And even still, Saul's response is, I did obey the voice of the Lord. And now he's even kind of looking towards the people. Let's not forget he's the leader of the people, and pointing to the people as, I've done this well, and then the people took this, just this constant rationalization. And then finally, the best of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice to the Lord your God in Gilgal. Still pointing to this, hey, I've kept the best for the Lord. This is Samuel's response. Has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the Lord, the word of the Lord, he also has rejected you from being king. Nail in the coffin right here. And getting right back to that original command of what there was to do. And now we're left with this beautiful verse and an amazing verse, and one that we should probably all memorize. And it's, behold, to obey is better than sacrifice. So not to get caught up in what, in this earthly work, in my sacrifice and what I'm doing and what you're doing, and boy, aren't we great. No. Obey. Where is God speaking to you now? What's going on in your life? And it could be something very simple. Maybe it's just forgiving a friend. Maybe there's an action, something that you've done to somebody, and in your will, right? Getting back to, even Saul was unwilling to utterly destroy them. Are you unwilling? Am I unwilling to go to that friend and say, hey, I'm sorry? Are we unwilling to acknowledge an action? Maybe even with a kid, of going to them and saying, hey, you know what? I acted out in anger today. I acted out, in anger. There was nothing kind in what I said, and I apologize, and I ask for your forgiveness. Whatever it is. I mean, there's, we can go on with that, but ask yourself that, what is it you're unwilling to do in this moment? And remember, to obey is better than sacrifice. Then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now, therefore, please pardon my sin and return with me, that I may worship the Lord. But Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned around to go away, Saul seized the edge of his robe, and it tore. So Samuel said to him, the Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today, and has given it to a neighbor of yours who is better than you. And also the strength of Israel will not lie nor relent, for he is not a man that he should relent. The strength of Israel, in all caps, it's speaking to God. So really, and also God will not lie. He cannot lie. His word is pure, his word is truth. He will not lie nor relent, for he is not a man that he should relent. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, please, before the elders of my people and before Israel, and return with me, that I may worship the Lord your God. So Samuel turned back after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord. Then Samuel said, bring Agag, king of the Amalekites, here to me. So Agag came to him cautiously. And Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. But Samuel said, as your sword has made women childless, so shall your mother be childless among women. And Samuel hacked Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house at Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel went no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord regretted that he had made Saul king over Israel. We end here, guys. I've got 30 seconds. And this is just a powerful chapter. Chapter here in 1 Samuel, just where there's a lot going on, and asking ourselves, what is God's character? What is God trying to tell about Himself in this? And let's forget ourselves for a moment. Let's forget how it can bless us, because certainly it will. Yet who is God? So go forth. May your day be blessed, and see you next time.